Samsung's SNO6084R is part of Samsung TechWin's WiseNet 3 range of network cameras, a lineup that Samsung likes to call the wise choice for professionals, which made us wonder, why? This Samsung Bullet camera has a true wide dynamic range. It can stream up to 60 frames per second at full 1080p. It also supports edge storage and even has some basic video analytics built in. Not bad. Not bad at all. We're really excited to try this camera. After all, Samsung makes some of the best smartphones in the world, so how bad could their cameras be? Out of the box, we immediately noticed a lack of continuity in Samsung's branding. Unlike their smartphones, Samsung's bullet cameras don't seem to have a size complex. Pretty much bang on average, the SNO6084R fits right in with the rest of its competitors. Mounting was simple. The camera was light enough that it was easy to support while using the 3 screw holes in the base to attach the camera to the wall. Adjusting the sun shroud was also a pleasure, as Samsung uses a thumb screw to secure the shroud, opposed to an Allen key or security screw like some of the competition. The user interface for configuring the camera was fast and intuitive. Remote zoom and focus capabilities made getting the perfect shot a breeze. We're just about to start examining the image quality from this Samsung Bullet camera. We've had a hard time finding anything wrong with it so far, and they're off to a good start. Pulling the shot up on full screen, we saw a picture we could hardly believe. So sharp was the image that objects in the scene looked almost as if they had been drawn in with a fine-tip pen. We had to digitally zoom into these images to see if they were really as sharp as they appeared. Well, we've just digitally zoomed into the Samsung Bullet camera's images here. We can tell you that the objects are not drawn in with a fine-tip pen. In fact, they look more like they're drawn in with a thick black marker. Expanding the image had revealed something very deceptive about this camera's performance. Severe over-sharpening. So severe, in fact, that it had created thick black outlines around dark objects. It's a shame, you know. I was really taken by this camera. Now I feel a bit like I've been had. Like the Rolex I had bought on the streets of Toronto, it was just too good to be true. Lab testing confirmed the SNO6084R was over-sharpening by 133%. The most severe over-sharpening found in any of the bullet cameras we tested. It was time to shut off the lights and see if this camera could win us back in the dark. With the lights out, we could see that the over-sharpening was better, though still pretty extreme. IR lighting was nice and soft across the center of the image, though it did die off a bit around the outside edges when zoomed out. Examining our moving swing, we noticed a lot of blurring caused by the camera's unreasonably slow default minimum shutter speed of 1/5 of a second. That was the last straw for us. We knew this camera was not living up to its potential, and it was time we did something about it. First up, we cranked the minimum shutter speed to 1/30th of a second. Next up, we had to fix the over-sharpening. By going into the camera setup menu and looking under Special, we were able to adjust the sharpening. We played with the sharpening levels to figure out where the camera's sweet spot was, but in the end decided to just turn it off. This camera's great dynamic range combined with its already excellent picture quality meant sharpening really didn't add any value to the camera. There were 2 more features we just had to try before wrapping up our testing. First up was Samsung's rather unusual defog technology. We had only one problem. Not really foggy in here today. Luckily, I had a better idea. How's that?
No.
So we weren't able to test the camera's defog setting. Luckily, unless you live on the coast of Newfoundland, it's unlikely you would use this feature anyway. The last feature we had to try was Samsung's digital image stabilization, which is listed as DIS under the Special tab in Camera Setup. Image stabilization is off by default. Turning it on will result in a slightly reduced and adjusted field of view. However, if your camera is mounted on a pole or a slightly wobbly surface like ours is, then using image stabilization can really help prevent blurred and shaky images. Sure enough, turning on the image stabilization really did help prevent shaky images for us. When wobbling the camera, the picture started to look a bit like a jellyfish, but playback revealed that the jellyfish effect was doing a great job of killing the camera motion blur caused by the shakes. In summary, We really enjoyed using the SNO 6084R. Image quality was some of the best we've seen, though we highly recommend tuning the camera's sharpening way down and turning the camera's minimum shutter speed up. Our verdict? Though I feel like this Samsung bullet camera tried to trick us early on with its crazy over sharpening, I feel like with a few minor tweaks we're able to see the incredible image quality it was actually capable of producing. Combine that with the massive wide dynamic range and this camera comes out a real winner.